I'm the lawyer for Pictou and First Nation, and I wish I could be there this morning, but I can't. Just to step back briefly, the Minister of Environment is faced with a decision under the Environment Act, which governs the options that the Minister has at this stage. And what seems very important is that to date, there has not been a full environmental assessment report with respect to the project. And indeed, that is one of the options that the Minister has at this stage. After having received the focus report and all the public comments on the focus report, the department staff have to go through the comments, the report, and prepare a summary for the Minister. We understand that's in the process now. The Minister then has 14 days to review everything and make a decision. The Minister can accept the project with or without conditions. The Minister can reject the project. The Minister can also require the full environmental assessment report. And it's important to understand that the environmental assessment regulations under the Environment Act do set out in Section 18 what the Minister has to consider when making his decision. And it is only if the focus report provides enough information where the Minister can be satisfied that the project can proceed and mitigate any known environmental risks. So the question at this stage for the Minister is whether the focus report has provided the scientific evidence which would allow him to approve this project, knowing and being satisfied that whatever conditions he adds to an approval would mitigate any environmental risks. And having examined the focus report, having had EXP consultants, an independent engineering firm, review the focus report, and having met with representatives of 5 federal departments whose scientists have reviewed the focus report as well, Pictou and First Nation just cannot understand how the Minister could possibly entertain the approval of the project at this stage. The science is simply not there. The focus report did not address many of the terms of reference. It simply didn't give the information that they were asked. And those are detailed in the reports that we file on behalf of Pictou and First Nation with the Department of Environment. And there's a long list. EXP consultants, in almost every instance, gave a failing grade as to whether the response in the focus report met what was requested in terms of reference. So at this stage, Pictou and First Nations can only conclude that the focus report was rushed and it was meant to be filed within a certain deadline so that anything at all could be put before the Minister in the hopes that the Minister would grant an approval with many, many, many conditions. The Minister could grant an approval at almost 100 conditions and we would still have serious concerns. But that appears to be the tact and the tactic that the owners of the mill have taken. And we suspect it was because of statements that were made by the Premier back in July, when he said that if the project receives an environmental approval, if it's an environmentally sound project, he would have to consider that, which could only mean that he may be considering that if the project is approved by the Minister of Environment, extending the deadline for closure of the Boat Harbor Treatment Facility. which Pictou Landing First Nation obviously opposes. So, in our view, Northern Pulp rushed the focus report, hasn't provided the scientific basis which would give the minister any comfort whatsoever to issue an approval, and they've done so in order to play a political game here. And in our view, they got caught out, and the focus report is simply insufficient, and the minister has no choice. He cannot approve the project under any circumstances based on the current focus report. Thank you.